The Battle of Britain, a clash of eagles. In the skies above England, a drama of epic proportions unfolded. The fate of a nation, of freedom itself, hung precariously in the balance. This was no ordinary battle. It was a struggle for air supremacy, a desperate fight against the odds. The summer of 1940, Nazi Germany, triumphant on the continent, turned its sights on Great Britain. Their goal, Operation Sea Lion, the invasion of the British Isles. Standing in their way, the Royal Air Force, courageous young men and their flying machines. The Battle of Britain was a defining moment in World War II. This is their story. The road to the Battle of Britain was paved with the wreckage of war. Poland, Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium and France all fell victim to Hitler's blitzkrieg. The Allied forces were in disarray, reeling from the speed and ferocity of the German onslaught. Winston Churchill, the newly appointed Prime Minister, rallied his nation with characteristic defiance. "We shall fight on the beaches," he declared. "We shall never surrender." The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of nations. The Battle of Britain was about to begin. Following the Treaty of Versailles, a sense of unease lingered across Europe. Germany, burdened by reparations and territorial losses, felt humiliated and resentful. The Nazi Party, led by the charismatic but ruthless Adolf Hitler, rose to prominence. Hitler's message of national revival and German dominance resonated with a population scarred by economic hardship and political instability. His ambitions extended far beyond mere recovery. The remilitarization of the Rhineland, the annexation of Austria, and the dismemberment of Czechoslovakia were ominous signs of things to come. Despite the growing threat, a sense of complacency persisted in Britain. The invasion of Poland on September 1st, 1939, shattered any illusions of peace. Britain and France, honoring their guarantees to Poland, declared war on Germany 2 days later. However, the initial months of the conflict were marked by a strange period of inactivity known as the Phony War. The French army, entrenched behind the Maginot Line, adopted a defensive posture. The British Expeditionary Force, dispatched to support France, also remained largely inactive. Meanwhile, the German war machine, having crushed Poland, paused to regroup and rearm. In Britain, the Phony War was a time of anxious waiting. The government ramped up military production and introduced conscription. The Royal Air Force, still relatively small, began to expand rapidly. The storm broke on May 10, 1940, when Hitler unleashed his long-awaited offensive in the west. German forces, spearheaded by panzer divisions, smashed through the Ardennes forest, bypassing the Maginot Line and catching the Allies completely by surprise. The speed and ferocity of the German advance was stunning. Within days, the Netherlands was overrun and Belgium was on the verge of collapse. The British Expeditionary Force, along with French and Belgian troops, found themselves trapped in a rapidly shrinking pocket around the French port of Dunkirk. Their backs to the sea, they faced annihilation or capture. The evacuation of Dunkirk, though a rescue operation of incredible scale and courage, left Britain exposed. The English Channel, a narrow strip of water, was all that stood between a triumphant Nazi Germany and its next target. The Luftwaffe, eager to exploit its recent victories, turned its attention to the skies above Britain. The Battle of Britain, a clash of ideologies and air power, had begun. The early skirmishes focused on the Channel, vital shipping lanes and coastal radar stations. German bombers, escorted by nimble Messerschmitt Bf-109s, targeted convoys bringing vital supplies to Britain. The RAF, though outnumbered, responded with ferocious determination. The early weeks of the battle, dubbed Kanalkampf by the Germans, saw a relentless struggle for control of the skies above the English Channel. The Luftwaffe focused on crippling British shipping and softening coastal defences, paving the way for a potential invasion. The RAF, acutely aware that Britain's survival rested on their shoulders, fought back with unmatched ferocity. The English Channel, once a symbol of Britain's isolation, became a swirling aerial battlefield. Every day from dawn till dusk, the skies roared with the thunder of engines and the clatter of machine guns. Pilots, young men on both sides, pushed their aircraft to the limits, engaging in deadly aerial duels at breakneck speeds. Despite the constant pressure, the RAF, bolstered by a steady stream of replacement aircraft and fresh pilots, refused to break. Section 3, Adlertag, Day of the Eagle, August 13th, 1940, marked a turning point in the battle. Dubbed Adlertag or Eagle Day by Hermann Göring, it was meant to be the start of an all-out assault on RAF Fighter Command, a decisive blow intended to cripple British air defences and pave the way for invasion. The Luftwaffe threw everything it had into the attack, launching wave after wave of bombers and fighters against RAF airfields and infrastructure. The RAF, though taken aback by the sheer scale of the assault, responded with characteristic grit and determination. Adlertag, though a day of intense fighting and heavy losses for both sides, failed to achieve its objectives. Section 4, The Few Against All Odds. The Battle of Britain was not fought solely by the brave pilots who took to the skies. It was a collective effort, a testament to the resilience and determination of the British people. The women of the Women's Auxiliary Air Force, or WAAF, played a vital role, operating radar stations, plotting enemy positions, and ensuring the smooth flow of information to fighter squadrons. On the ground, factory workers toiled around the clock, producing the aircraft, ammunition, and equipment needed to keep the RAF in the fight. Civilians, enduring nightly bombing raids during the Blitz, displayed remarkable courage and resilience. The Battle of Britain, though ultimately a victory for the Royal Air Force, was a testament to the collective will of the British people. Section 1. The Few, Portraits of Courage. The Battle of Britain was a crucible that forged legends, etching the names of young pilots into the annals of history. These were the few, as Winston Churchill famously dubbed them, who stood against the Nazi war machine, their courage and skill defying the odds. One such legend was Pilot Officer Eric Sornoff-Locke, a quiet, unassuming man who became the highest-scoring British fighter ace of the battle. Then there was Flight Lieutenant Alan Deer, a New Zealander who cheated death countless times. These men, and countless others like them, came from all walks of life, united by a common purpose: to defend their homeland from tyranny. They were the few, and their courage would forever inspire generations to come. Behind the individual acts of heroism, the Battle of Britain was ultimately won by a remarkable feat of organisation and technological innovation: Dowding's system. Named after Air Chief Marshal Sir Hugh Dowding, head of RAF Fighter Command, this integrated air defence system proved instrumental in maximising the RAF's limited resources against the numerically superior Luftwaffe. Dowding, a visionary leader, understood that the key to victory lay not merely in superior aircraft but in the efficient use of information. His system, a marvel of its time, connected a network of radar stations, ground observers and command centres, allowing the RAF to track enemy movements with unprecedented accuracy. This real-time intelligence allowed controllers to scramble fighters to the right place at the right time, maximising their effectiveness and minimising wasted effort. It allowed the RAF to punch above its weight, turning the tide against the Luftwaffe and ultimately securing victory for Britain in its darkest hour. While the Spitfire and the Hurricane are iconic, the victory was won by diverse aircraft and personnel. The Defiant found a niche as a bomber-destroyer. The Blenheim played a crucial role in defending British cities from nocturnal raids. Ground crew laboured tirelessly to keep the RAF flying. The WAAF played a vital role in radar operations and aircraft maintenance. The Battle of Britain was a symphony of courage and sacrifice. It was a victory won by countless individuals, both in uniform and out. As summer faded, the Luftwaffe was bruised and bloodied. Their losses were staggering. The swift knockout blow against the RAF failed. The German war machine met an enemy it couldn't overwhelm. A shift in strategy became necessary. Göring decided to target British cities. This marked the beginning of the Blitz. It was a desperate gamble. The decision was controversial. Some saw it as morally reprehensible. Others saw it as necessary. Göring's will prevailed. The RAF regrouped and repaired. The Battle of Britain reached a turning point. The Luftwaffe gave the RAF breathing room. The wail of air raid sirens pierced the night, a chilling soundtrack to the relentless terror that became the Blitz. From September 1940 to May 1941, London and other major British cities endured a nightly barrage of bombs, a brutal campaign designed to break the spirit of the British people. The Luftwaffe, its bombers laden with incendiaries and high explosives, transformed once familiar streets into fiery infernos. Night after night the bombers came, their engines a menacing drone in the darkness. The sky above London glowed an eerie orange as fires raged out of control. Historic buildings crumbled into rubble. Residential neighborhoods were reduced to smoldering ruins. The air was thick with smoke, dust, and the acrid smell of explosives. Yet amidst the chaos and destruction, the spirit of the British people refused to be broken. They sought shelter in underground stations, turning subterranean tunnels into makeshift dormitories. They shared meager rations, offered comfort to their neighbors, and emerged from their shelters each morning, resolute in their defiance. The Blitz, though a period of unimaginable hardship and loss, had an unintended consequence. It strengthened the resolve of the British people, forging a spirit of unity and determination that transcended social class and political affiliation. The Luftwaffe, in seeking to terrorize a nation into submission, had instead galvanized its spirit. By the late autumn of 1940, the Battle of Britain was winding down. The Luftwaffe, its strength depleted, its morale shaken, was forced to scale back its attacks. The skies above Britain, once a swirling aerial battlefield, were slowly returning to a semblance of normalcy. The RAF, battered but not broken, had prevailed. The Battle of Britain, though a relatively short campaign in the grand scheme of World War II, had profound and lasting consequences. It marked the first major defeat for the Nazi war machine, shattering the aura of invincibility that had surrounded Hitler's forces. It proved that even the mighty Luftwaffe could be challenged and defeated. More importantly, the Battle of Britain bought precious time for the Allies. It prevented a German invasion of Britain, denying Hitler the strategic advantage of controlling the English Channel and launching pad for further conquests. It allowed Britain to remain a beacon of hope in a world consumed by darkness, a vital base for the eventual Allied liberation of Europe. The Battle of Britain, though ultimately a victory for the Royal Air Force and the British people, came at a heavy cost. Over 500 RAF pilots, many of them young men barely old enough to shave, lost their lives defending their homeland. Their sacrifice, however, would not be in vain. They had bought their nation time to rebuild its strength, time to rally its allies, time to ultimately defeat the Nazi menace. The Battle of Britain stands as a pivotal moment in history. It marked the first significant defeat of Hitler's war machine. The Luftwaffe encountered an adversary that refused to yield. The skies above Britain became a proving ground. The legacy of the few continues to inspire. Their courage and determination serve as a timeless reminder. Ordinary individuals who rose to meet extraordinary challenges, a triumph of collective will and resilience. The British people endured the horrors of the Blitz. Innovation and radar technology were crucial. The Battle of Britain was a turning point. It showed that Hitler's Germany was not invincible. It bought precious time for the Allies to regroup and liberate Europe. The echoes of the Battle of Britain resonate far beyond the realm of military history. It is a timeless tale of courage and sacrifice, a story that transcends national boundaries and speaks to the very core of the human spirit. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, when all seems lost, the flame of hope can never be extinguished. The men and women who fought and won the Battle of Britain, both in the air and on the ground, left behind a legacy of resilience, determination, and unwavering belief in the face of adversity. They showed the world that even a small island nation standing alone against a seemingly insurmountable foe could summon the strength to defend its freedom and shape the course of history. Their story is a testament to the power of unity, the importance of technological innovation, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. It serves as a constant reminder that freedom is not free, that it must be constantly defended and cherished. The Battle of Britain, though fought over 70 years ago, continues to hold profound relevance in a world still grappling with the threat of tyranny and oppression. It is a story that deserves to be told and retold, passed down through generations as a reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, courage, determination, and an unwavering belief in a cause can overcome.